This is SMI TV.
This is Seattle Music Insider speaking with Howard Leese, formerly of Heart, currently working with Bad Company. Who else are you working with, Howard? What other projects?
I will do the Paul Rogers solo band and Bad Company, so I'm in two bands with Paul.
Howard, it's been over 30 years since you played with your mates. How's it feel tonight? Are you excited?
It feels like it was yesterday. I mean, musically, we sounded exactly the same. I think it's kind of neat. I mean, that was one of the reasons I was interested in doing this, is just to see if we still had it, you know, because we had a special sound all those years ago, and people loved that sound, and I just kind of wanted to see if we could still do it. And we do. We sound just like we always do.
Now, have you guys kept in touch throughout the years? I mean, you still friends? I know that you kind of went your separate ways for a while.
Yeah, I mean, we don't talk every week or something, but I do hear from them now and again. Over the years, we've spoken numerous times, and I've ran into them on various things. But you know, I live in Malibu now, so I'm not up here as much. I still have my house in Kent, but I'm not up here as much as I used to be, so I don't see them like I used to.
So what is it about this particular event that finally got you guys together? I'm sure that there's been opportunities in the past. What about this particular event that got you guys?
It was just a funny thing of two things coming together. I heard from Alan White and the people that wanted to do this concert, and I'm very much in support of music in the schools. I think music is good for children, and so I wanted to do something to keep the music in the schools. And they said they were doing this concert, and I could play some of my pieces with the orchestra. I thought, that'd be great. Love doing that.
What particular numbers tonight are you really looking forward to playing? Old Heart numbers.
Well, first I'm going to play two songs from my record, Secret Weapon. I'm going to do Leonard Bernstein's Somewhere from West Side Story.
Oh, wonderful.
And I'm going to do an original called The South Sun. It's about a climber stuck really high on Mount Everest. I'm doing those are both instrumentals with the orchestra. And then the Heart guys are going to join me. We're going to do Mistral Wind with the orchestra. We're going to do Crazy on You with the orchestra. And then we're going to play Barracuda real loud with no orchestra.
Any other projects that you're working on that you'd like to plug at this time?
Well, I'm just doing Paul Rogers and Bad Company shows all summer. Just did a big tour in England. Huge successful tour in England. So we're going to do some Bad Company shows here in America this summer. So.
Well, good. Well, Howard, I'll let you get back to your fans here. I know they're here to meet and greet with you. Have a great show.
Thank you.
And congratulations on getting back together with your mates after 30 years.
Thank you.
No, it's been like it's surreal to me. Mm-hmm. We rehearsed the other day for the first time we played together in 30 years.
Yeah.
It's like all this time. But I mean, 30 years is a long time.
It is, yeah.
Long time. For all of us to get together again, I sensed this. You were just right back. The four of us together had the same dynamic, you know, the same kind of interaction and everything.
Right.
It just everybody's personalities kind of fall into place.
It's just amazing.
And 30 years. It's very surreal.
The thing is, though, that you know, we've all been really active musically, and you know, we never didn't play music. So you got four musicians that have continued to evolve over the last 30 years that have now come together, where there's a kind of contiguous synergy that never went away, but wasn't known until we actually got together, and it felt kind of magical.
Well, you guys were great musicians back then, but I mean, your chops now, 30 years later, I can only imagine what you can do now that maybe you couldn't do back then.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily real true. But what
Really?
I found about my guitar playing is that, geez, I go back to play some of that stuff, and there's some seriously difficult
Pretty
stuff
complex,
to play.
yeah.
And it's a real challenge. And I remember that fiery guy who lived and breathed rock and roll and was on top of his game. And now, like for instance, the last 3 weeks or so, I've just been editing video, and I don't get to play guitar.
Right.
So when I went into practice the other day, I felt a little rusty.
Well, it's interesting. When I go back and I hear those records, which are amazing, I hear things that I didn't hear when I listened to them back then. Do you ever hear things that maybe you didn't hear on the record now, or you've heard it so much, I can imagine?
One of my reasons for hearing stuff I never heard before is because I have these really incredible ribbon tweeter monitors. They're Behringer Truth monitors. God, you hear so much detail. It's fantastic.
Right.
It's encouraging because you realize not only how good a producer Mike Flicker was and engineer that Rolf Henneman was, but the amount of work that we put into the tunes really shows. So it's rewarding.
Have you changed the way you play over the course of the last 30 years?
Drastically, yeah. I don't use a pick anymore, and
A la Jeff Beck.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Swallow that.
do you know that when in 1957 Elvis had to go to the hospital because he inhaled a cap?
No.
One of the caps on his teeth. He had to go to the hospital and get it removed out of his lung.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How about you, Steve? I mean, have you changed your approach to how you play today compared to how you played maybe 30 years ago?
Well, of course you learn things and you get better and you realize things about music and your playing that you kind of intuitively did when you were younger, but then when you get older you figured it out. And I just feel more comfortable playing now than I did in the past because it's sunk into my core deeper. And I through the course of the years I've realized and fit myself into the pantheon of other bass players and musicians that I've heard and admired and listened to over the years, and our stuff has definitely stood the test of time, and sometimes I'll be listening to myself and I'll think that's pretty cool, and then I'll realize that it's myself, and so it's kind of weird.
Now, you guys had you guys brought a lot of funk to your sound too, kind of a funky groove to a lot of your songs back then.
That'd be the funk guy right there.
I was just holding on by my fingernails most of the time.
Well, you held on pretty well. All right, you guys, thanks a lot. Have a great show tonight.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
man.
you, Greg.
All right.
Enjoy yourself.
Conversation. I'm speaking to Somar, who's scared to interview, but you know what? She's geared up for the show. Somar, are you excited?
I'm totally pumped.
So you are obviously, and Wilson, huge influence on you. You've been in Heart tribute bands. How does it feel to get up on stage and play with the 4 male members that created the music that you grew up listening to?
Absolutely incredible. I'm totally excited. Rehearsals with these guys have been a blast, and it's a dream come true for me. I love the music, and I'm ready to rock it tonight.
How are you enjoying meeting the fans right now?
Yeah, big time.
They seem pretty excited about the show?
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'll let you get back to it. Thank you
you.
for your time. Have a great show tonight.
Alrighty, we'll do.